Bearcat Blitz starting up right now on the Believe Network. Thank you all so much for joining us, making us your first choice wherever you're getting your Bearcats content. I'm your All Bearcats reporter, Russ Heltman, joined across the way by my co-host, Dominick Goodman. Dom, we got a really special guest this week, UC's leading rusher, Corey Kiner. Dominick looking dapper in the suit and tie. Got the red and black checkers to shout out the Bearcats right there. I love it. Dominick, really excited show, man. It's going to be a good one. Corey Kiner joining us this week, and then we'll preview the West Virginia matchup. A fitting time to have Corey Kiner on, considering these are two of the top 7 teams in the nation in terms of rushing the football this season.
I mean, it's I'm eager to talk to Kiner. I mean, he's the man about business. He stands on business. Mr. Consistent, runs hard, makes plays, man. I love the way he plays, man. Especially, it's going to be an interesting game coming up with both teams running rushing attack is both efficient. So it's going to be a battle in the trenches.
That it will be. Catch us on podcast platforms, wherever, Apple, Spotify, Google, wherever you're getting your podcasts, and also on YouTube, Talking Cats with Russ Heltman, YouTube video version of the show going up there, and the video version going up on Valley Sports Ohio. Catch us there on game day weekends throughout the fall. Let's go ahead and get to it. We'll bring in Corey after a message here from our great sponsor, Bet Online. The last of the major pro sports leagues is off and rolling, and college basketball is ready to go as well. Bet Online remains your top spot for all your live betting action and contests. NFL, college football, UFC, and NHL are all in full swing. Bet Online is your number one source for wagering news, odds, trends, and predictions. All the hoops betting action, along with every sport, available at your fingertips with both desktop and mobile access at any time. Head to Bet Online today and remember to use our promo code BELIEVE for your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Bet Online, where the game starts. Let's go ahead and bring him in now. Corey Kiner, UC running back, the leading rusher on the team. Corey has been fantastic this year, nearly at 1,000 yards, 161 carries, 885 yards, and 5 touchdowns, a healthy 5.5 yards per clip. Corey, thank you so much for taking some time this week and joining us on Bearcat Blitz.
Sir, thank you for having me. How are you doing today?
Great, man. Great, man. So outside of the blocking, I know you give the flowers to your offensive linemen, your wide receivers, and you lead with that every single time you get asked about your own accolades. But specifically with the way you've run the football this year, has anything changed in terms of your technique, your fundamentals? Have they gotten sharper to the point where you can really kind of hit teams for 5.5 yards per carry at 150 plus carry clip? Has anything changed there entering 2023 or throughout the season?
Throughout the season, I've just been focusing on making sure I just follow the play how it's exactly supposed to go. Because sometimes when it's not working out, when the running game is not working out, you probably want to get in, start doing your own thing, start trying to bend runs back and all that kind of stuff. But I keep them consistent by keep pressing it where it needs to be pressed, and then that's how you open up cutback lanes and all that kind of stuff.
Man, first of all, Mr. Ohio, man, pleasure to talk to you, man. I was excited when you transferred over to UC. It was, City was excited, but the biggest thing about it, what kind of made you make that decision to come over to UC?
Well, I always wanted to play back at home so my family could be able to see every game, because they can come to all the home games and they don't have to travel, but they're also able to travel to all the away games and see every single game. I've had family members at every single game this season.
So cool. Yeah, that piggybacks on my question. Just the overall impact of being able to do this at UC, and especially your journey, Corey, of not starting out your career here, starting out your career in LSU, and then coming back. That can be, it's a dive you got to take. You got to take a chance. You got to take a dive. You got to trust in your own abilities. You got to trust in your timeline and the faith that you have in a new staff. And then the staff gets changed right after your first year, but you stick with it. You stay in your hometown. And now to be having this kind of success, does it feel a little extra, maybe special that it's happened this way, as opposed to maybe had you just stayed at LSU and grinded it out? I don't know if I'm framing it that way, but how much more special is it that it's happened in this kind of timeline?
It's very special. always tell my father that they're gonna write a book about my college career because it's been a journey so far. I've had 3 different coaching staffs that I've played under, and it's been a crazy journey. I've had to learn 3 different offenses, learn 3 different coaching staffs. Had to just show them that, like, show people that the coaching staffs aren't what make me. It's my effort and attitude that I bring every day.
With all the success in the running back room, how do y'all, far as like how y'all come together, far as like y'all competitive, or just tell us about the running back room, because a lot of y'all get on that field, get the ball, y'all make plays.
We're very competitive, and I can credit that to Coach Sims. He keeps things very competitive at practice and everything like that. But we all want to see each other be successful, and I think that's the great thing about it. The competitiveness along with wanting to see each other be successful. So whenever we get on the field, and somebody takes 160 or someone breaks 5 tackles or however many tackles, and then we get our opportunity, we want to do that exact same thing. So we just go all out trying to do that, trying to help the team in any way that we can.
Corey, when we look at the workload that you're going through right now, and just basically getting doubled up already on your carries from last year compared to this season, you had about 81 carries last year, I believe, and you're already at 161 or 162 this season, and we got 2 games remaining. Was there a conscious effort in the offseason, knowing that the door is kind of open for me to maybe take firm control of this running back room? I need to get my body to the level to be able to get that amount of carries and to be able to prepare myself to ultimately get the workload that every college running back would want, a 5.5 carry workload on heavy volume each game.
Yes, sir. So I feel like in the offseason, my main focus was to not just get my body prepared, but my mind prepared. Because like you said, I'm already almost double the amount of carries that I've had last season. So that can take a huge toll on my body, but mentally that could break you down as well. So I wanted to come into fall camp this season and show the coaches that, shoot, I'm prepared to take however many carries they need every single game, whatever it takes for me to make the biggest impact that I can.
And I know you talked about far as just the coaches change and all the switches. I've been familiar with that with I had Coach D'Antonio, then Coach Kelly. A lot of different things happen. Different coaches have different like ways or philosophies. Really, just go on, like, tell us about, like, was it difficult to adjust to their philosophy or their playbooks or their verbiage?
It wasn't a difficult adjustment for me because I'm a yes or no sir player. I'm gonna do whatever the coaches need me to do. So I just make sure that I show up on time for everything. Try to stay in the coach's hip pocket so I could learn as quick as I can and just do whatever I can to make that adjustment as easy as possible.
You see running back Corey Kiner joining us this week, one of the most prolific rushers in the country, approaching 1,000 yards on the ground this season with 885 rushing yards, 5 touchdowns, and a 5.5 yards per clip average. The receiving game, you've 10 times that almost, or 5 times that, and some, Corey, with 12 catches this year. What has that been like? Just the receiving aspect of your job as a running back, the blocking aspect. How do you feel like those two kind of lesser magnified aspects of a running back's game have come together for you in your development?
Well, I've always been a running back who catches the ball. It's just I never really had the opportunity to do it in the game.
Right.
But at practice and everything like that, I always try to show the coaches that I can run routes, I can catch, try not to drop any balls or anything like that. But this offseason, every weekend in the summertime, Emory and the other quarterbacks would go out and throw, and along with the receivers, and I would go out there and catch and run routes with the receivers every weekend. Cool. So that was a big emphasis this offseason. And then as far as pass blocking, I think that to be a successful running back at this level in college football and hopefully at the professional level, you have to be an excellent pass blocker because the quarterbacks are the moneymakers on the offense or on the whole team. So you don't want to get those guys touched at all.
No doubt.
So when you dominated in the high school level, just far as just I know I coach high school football. I'm over at Talawanda, and the kids always ask, like, I mean, what's the difference between high school and then you going to college? As far as what would you say what was the hardest part, and what was more of the more easiest part with the transition from high school to college?
Well, for the transition to high school to college for me, the time management was a big adjustment because in high school you have school from this AM to PM, and then you have football practice for a couple hours, and then you're free for the rest of the day. Whereas college, you might have football in the morning, then you might have class, then you might have a little free time, and then you have practice. And everybody's schedule is different. Everybody's not on the same schedule, so it's about time management. Figuring out when you can go work out at football, figuring out when you could eat lunch, hit the training room, take care of your body, figuring out when you can get your homework done, because there's nobody telling you, oh, you need to do this, or oh, you got this class you got to go to. You're a grown man at this point, so you have to figure it out on your own.
Yeah, because I remember I missed a couple classes my freshman year. I thought it was just like, I ain't got to go to none of that. I just got to play football. Next thing I know, I'm going to boom, 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 5 a.m, get your butt up and hit the stadium stairs. And I don't think a lot of kids that had the upbringing to go to college don't understand. Like, they're not going to baby you. They're going to sit out here and be like, listen, I get another person just like you. Just go ahead and mess up if you want.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yeah, a lot of people don't understand that, it's not high school anymore. You gotta get up and figure it out on your own at points. Because, like you said, you can be replaced.
You see running back Corey Kiner joining us. A couple more questions for Corey, then we'll let him go. Any player that you model your game after? We'll go a couple of rapid fire here from me.
I don't necessarily model my game after a single player, okay, but I watch all the NFL running backs that are playing currently, all the greats that played before, and I try to just see what they did best, and I try to use that. But a player that I have been watching a lot lately is Josh Jacobs.
Okay. Yeah, you guys are. That's a good similarity. You guys have a similar kind of style.
Yes, sir. And Damian Pierce from Houston.
Yeah.
And those guys are similar to my size, and I try to run hard like those guys. And the quickness that Josh Jacobs has, he's very quick and shifty. Along with that, he has great power. So I just try to do what those guys do.
Do you have a favorite run design in this offense? Is there any run design that you like the most in terms of the angle of your rushing lane?
Well, at the beginning of the season, I did, but it's like I've scored or had big yards on every running design that we had.
There you go.
It's like it changes. It's a game to game thing. Like, one game it might be inside zone, the next game it might be outside zone, another game it might be gap scheme. It's just like it changes.
Dom, you got anything else for him?
Running backs, y'all in the trenches all the time. So what's the music or something that pumps you up to get you focused and ready?
I don't know. It's not a certain song or anything that puts me up to get me ready, because before I used to listen to rap music before games, and then sometimes I listen to classic music, some R&B, something like that. But I will say what keeps me ready, like in the zone in the game, like, I don't know, like I get tackled sometimes and then I just bust out laughing as I'm getting tackled. And that really messes with defenders, because in the game on Saturday against Houston, like, I don't know what it was. I just got tackled and I just bust out laughing. One of the defenders got so mad, and I'm like, oh yeah, we winning this game.
That is awesome. Like that. Awesome stuff. All right. Corey Kiner, everybody. So good. Thank you so much for giving us some of your time this week, Corey, on Bearcat Blitz. Good luck for the final 2 games of the season. Congratulations on your year thus far, and congrats on all the accolades that you've justifiably earned and will keep earning in your Bearcats career, my man.
I appreciate you guys, sir. You guys have a nice day.
You do too, man.
Awesome stuff from Corey Kiner. That was a lot of fun. I'm glad you asked that last question. We got he breaks out in laughter after tackles. That would be a way to mess with guys coming out of the pile. Did you ever have anything like that, Zom, where you would just you play mind games after a hit or something like that?
I just get right up, because they ain't no defending. When you get popped one good time, you get right up. They're like, God, dog, like, what else I got to do to keep them down? And I think that discourages a lot of defenders when you laugh and you getting up like it don't faze you. And I think that's the biggest part. When you get hit, you can't just sit up there and be like, ooh, because you make it worse. But if you get right up, they're like, oh, shoot, you're like a Timex. He always keep on ticking. You know what I mean? So
exactly. So you're not describing the Jim Brown theory. Isn't he the one who would just like to stay down just to get like some extra rest or something? That's what he said. He was carrying the ball a lot. Maybe Corey picks up on some of that too, with those guys both being heavy ball carriers in their offenses respectively. Dominick Goodman, Russ Heltman, we'll be back after this break on Bearcat Blitz to preview the second to last football game of the season for the Cincinnati Bearcats. They're just inside of a touchdown underdogs against West Virginia on the road, headed to Morgantown for the first time in over 10 years. All that coming up on Bearcat Blitz. Bearcat Blitz continues as we preview the West Virginia matchup. I'm your host, Russ Heltman, joined across the way by my co-host, Dominick Goodman. Once again, thank you to the UC Athletics Department and Corey Kiner, especially, for taking some time this week to join us on Bearcat Blitz. It was a lot of fun chatting with him. Didn't dive too much. There was a lot of stuff I wanted to ask Corey just about the overall season. Didn't want to take up too much with this matchup coming up in terms of the West Virginia Mountaineers going up against the Cincinnati Bearcats from his perspective. But, Dom, when we look at this game and we look at how UC can ultimately finish this season, if you go 5-7, you put a lot of solid tastes in fans' mouths exiting the campaign and overall going into an offseason. That is the first true look at how Scott Satterfield can get a full slate of months to build a team. But first, you got to get victories against West Virginia and Kansas. 66% matchup favorite are the West Virginia Mountaineers to get the win at Milan Puskar Stadium. 6.5-point favorites. Dom, 93% of the bets wagered on this game, on the spread, are on West Virginia. And the line has not moved, interestingly, making me think that there's a lot of sharp money on the other side, making sure that line doesn't move. So when you look at the Bearcats and we look at the Mountaineers, it's all about the ground games. In terms of rushing attacks this season, UC is 5th nationally at 223 yards per game. West Virginia is 7th nationally at 13.8 yards per game. Garrett Green, Donaldson, their running back, he's been fantastic. Garrett Green has 450 plus rushing yards himself. CJ Donaldson, as I just mentioned, 160 carries, 755 yards, 10 touchdowns, right up there in the national rushing touchdowns leaderboard, and 4.7 yards per attempt. This offense, Dom, is driven by Green, Donaldson, and Jaheim White, the other running back that can do a lot of damage as well. White's the highest graded player on the team, 87.8 overall on Pro Football Focus. And then offensively, number 2 and number 3 are Green and Donaldson. This offensive line does not run block very well. These running backs and this quarterback, Dom, have made guys miss at the point of attack and been able to catalyze that into long runs and explosive plays. On top of that, head coach Neil Brown is going for it at an aggressive rate this season, and they're capitalizing on those 4th downs much better than the Bearcats have done in their respect. So it's going to be an interesting matchup. It's going to be, I think, a matchup that the Bearcats can ultimately win if they can figure out a way to tackle these ball carriers in open space.
Yeah, I mean, when you got stuff like that, guys, it's going to make people miss. It's going to be a whole bunch of gang tackling. Defense got to do a good job pursuing. Everybody getting on the ball, making plays. I mean, it's a game you're gonna have to win on the ground, but also as well, you got to complete some balls in the air, get them guys out the box. And to me, in my opinion, I think this is a game UC can win. In my opinion, so if y'all sports bettors, you might want to switch that bet if you want to make some money. But in my opinion, the run game after how they played last week is a glimpse of what's to come, because they're getting better each week. It's not like they're just being flat out terrible. It's just they're getting better. People, personnel and all the changes is all coming together as one. And I think this is a game where they're going to gel and make plays on the ground game. And they also got to make some plays in the pass game as well. As long as defense keeps those guys and don't let any explosive plays on the ground happen, I think this is a game where UC can come out on top.
Yeah, when you look at the quarterback aspect of this on the other side, defensively, West Virginia is not a great pass defense overall this season. They have allowed in the bottom 50, bottom 60 in terms of overall yards per attempt allowed this season. They're 62nd in yards per attempt with 7.2 yards per pass attempt allowed. They're giving up a 134.79 quarterback rating this season in terms of overall quarterback efficiency, which is pretty solid, honestly, in terms of overall statistics, but it's not that solid, actually. What am I talking about? It's 80th overall. Like, this defense, Dom, they've done a good job with Beanie Bishop and the rest of the secondary of limiting consistent 5, 10, 15-yard passes. 3 or 4 of those will drive, keeping those long drives from happening. But the explosives have been there. They're giving up, I think, 58% completion percentage on the year, but a little over, like I mentioned, 7 yards per attempt. Is this a place where those explosives through the air can start happening a little bit more often, and you start seeing another solid day out of Emory Jones or Brady Lichtenberg? That is an interesting question I have. And how much are they going to actually lean on the rushing, on the throwing attack? How much in this game between two really solid rushing offenses in their own right? How much will they lean into that? It's very interesting to me. And when you think about the rushing defense overall for West Virginia, it's not great, but it's not bad. 147 yards allowed per game. It's something that I think to win this game, to pull an upset, it's going to have to come through some explosives through the air. You're going to have to create some big plays in that sense. And will there be a big play receiver out there? Can Braden Smith continue to make 15-plus yard catches? Can we see some life out of D. Wiggins or Xavier Henderson at some point? Will Barry Jackson maybe make a big impact play in this one as he continues to get reps? And I believe he's going to play in one more game before getting that red shirt. Yeah, because last week would have been his 3rd game that he appeared in. So this is maybe the last chance to get some action in, or maybe they save him for the home game against Kansas. We'll see about that. But key to me on offense for the Bearcats, the rushing attack's going to be there. We know it's going to be there. We know it's going to happen. Can Emory Jones, can Braden Smith, can this wide receiver core continue to do just enough through the air to allow that rushing attack to power offensive scoring? And you're going to have to put up more than 24 points in this game, in my opinion, to get the victory. I'll go ahead and give them my prediction. I have UC. I think they're going to do it. I think they're going to win 28-27. A victory, narrow victory over the West Virginia Mountaineers. And with these two teams, I think they're so evenly matched. I would be very surprised, Dom, if it's a 2-score deficit on either side, unless UC just starts doing the shooting themselves in the foot thing again with all the penalties and the turnovers and all that stuff. But I'm gonna pick the Bearcats. I'm gonna get back on the train. 28-27. They pull off another road victory and go to get 3 wins on the road this year before getting 2 home wins. Never thought we'd be saying that in 2020.
You know where I'm at. You see all day. It's just about staying 3rd and manageable. Just can't get 3rd and long. And they do that. I got UC. You kind of close to my estimate, my guess. I'm gonna go with 24-17 UC.
All right.
I think it's gonna be a quick game because of the simple fact of the run game. As long as the run game is efficient, I think UC gonna win all day. That's what I got.
Will they be able to control Garrett Green, CJ Donaldson, and this rushing attack? Can't wait to check it out as Cincinnati takes on West Virginia Mountaineers and a quarterback ranked top 30 nationally in QBR this season. And Garrett Green, a 12-3 interception ratio. We're going to be trying to up that interception ratio on the right side of that number right there. Dominic Goodman, I'm Russ Heltman. This has been Bearcat Blitz on the Believe Network, presented by Bet Online. Enjoy the weekend of games, everybody.